Welcome to Inclusion Bites, your sanctuary for bold conversations that spark change. I'm Joanne Lockwood, your guide on this journey of exploration into the heart of inclusion, belonging, and societal transformation. Ever wondered what it truly takes to create a world where everyone not only belongs, but thrives? You're not alone. Join me as we uncover the unseen, challenge the status quo, and share stories that resonate deep within. Ready to dive in? Whether you're sipping your morning coffee or winding down after a long day, let's connect, reflect, and inspire action together. Don't forget, you can be part of the conversation too. Reach out to joe.lockwood@seechangehappen.co.uk to share your insights or to join me on the show. So adjust your earbuds and settle in. It's time to ignite the spark of inclusion with Inclusion Bites. And today is episode 129 with the title Wisdom on the School Run. And I have the absolute honour and privilege to welcome Liv Maudsley. Liv is the co-host of the School Run podcast and a college student. When I asked Liv to describe her superpower, she said she would say she has the wisdom to look at all perspectives, and she loves to understand why someone has a certain opinion or belief or feels a certain way. Hello, Liv. Welcome to the show.
Oh, hi. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. I'm pretty sure you hold the record for being my youngest guest.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
And I have the privilege of being invited onto your School Run podcast just recently. So, yeah. How does it feel to be in the other seat, as a guest?
It feels really a bit out of control. Usually I'm the one, asking the questions, but, the tables have turned a little bit.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to this. So we call this episode Wisdom on the School Run. The School Run is the name of your podcast that you run, co-host with was it your mum you run it with? Yeah. So tell me more about Wisdom on the School Run and your perspective around understanding other people's beliefs. So tell me more.
So, Wisdom on the School Run. So that's mine and my mum's podcast, which we started last year in February. It kind of all started because I had a really long journey to school. So it was an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back. And me and my mum, once a week, twice a week, we always used to have a really insightful conversation. I'd tell her something that was going on at school, and she'd give me her wisdom that she has, obviously got over time and through being a CEO. And I'd also give her my wisdom as, being 17, what I could try and give from my perspective. And so we thought, why not put it onto a podcast and bring guests on, and then they can share their life story and their wisdom to try and help people to see things from a different perspective. So, yeah.
So, from your perspective, obviously, what do you see as some of the key differences in the way people see the world from someone maybe your age, under 20, compared with someone who's over 40, over 50? What's the key differences, you think?
I think my generation, or maybe, me personally, I think we've had a lot more, there's been a lot more education, a lot more awareness around more topics that I would say maybe like my grandma or my mum didn't have when they were at school. However, my grandma, I really love her. I think she's like unique in a generation. She really loves to understand the younger generation and kind of what makes them tick as well, which I really love. She's not stuck in her ways or very traditional. She really wants to understand, which I think is really, really lucky. And in terms of, inclusion, diversity, and a lot of things, our generation, my generation, can be it's difficult with social media. I think it's a great thing, great for education. However, there's also a lot of judgment and a lot of people putting out their opinions and people judging them on that. And that's, I guess, a challenge that older generations haven't really had with social media before.
Yeah, I grew up. I mean, I was born in 1965. That's a lifetime ago for me. But yeah, a distant memory. Not even a memory for you. Probably not far off the same age as your grandma, I guess. So yeah, I mean, we had no internet. We had no mobile phones. When we were out, we were out. We were gone. There's nothing, no way of tracking us down. My mum would phone around all my friends, seeing if I was there, and we go, shh. There's no GPS tracking. There's no nothing. You turn up at 10 o'clock at night, late by 3 hours for your tea, and mum would be on the doorstep, wagging their finger at you, wondering where you've been. So yeah, it's different. People know where you are. People know what you're doing. They know what you have for breakfast now, don't they? Because you're sharing it all the time. Must be a real challenge, being a teenager or being a young person, having that much visibility on your life by not just your parents, but the world.
Yeah, but I think every generation, we all have our different challenges and things that my grandma would have experienced or my great grandma I could have never imagined, and vice versa the same way. So I don't think I'd ever say, one generation's had it easier than the other or someone's struggling more than the other, because I think, we've all had our different experiences. But with social media is you really see every bit of someone's life. And for me, I had TikTok and Snapchat, and I don't have TikTok anymore, and I don't have Snapchat either, because I'm not kind of like a social media person. Very much, I spend a lot of my time with my family, friends. I love kind of human contact and conversations. I'm not, and I could feel myself when I had TikTok. I probably got it to feel part of everyone, part of the trend. Everyone's got TikTok, everyone's on it. So that's probably why I got it, to fit in. But I could feel myself at night scrolling and scrolling for hours and hours and hours. And for me, I just didn't like that. I didn't like how I'd wake up then really tired, and how it was just unproductive use of my time. So I was like, I'm just going to delete it, and I'm going to delete Snapchat too. And that was where a lot of my friends messaged. So I did feel, oh, what if I'm going to miss out? What if they're going to, get an inside joke and then they're going to say it at school and I'm not going to get it? But I thought, do you know what? For me, I don't want to be on Snapchat and TikTok all the time. I want to be in the present and live now. So that's kind of why I got rid of those things.
So for someone like myself, the way I use TikTok is I post clips of my podcast, other little things on there. I very rarely spend any time watching anybody else. And my Snapchat use is I use the filters sometimes. I use Bitmoji, and I think you have to log on to get Bitmoji through Snapchat. So I'm a very kind of casual user. So what is it about those platforms that is so addictive to people, that consumes all this time? What do they give you?
I'm not sure. It's obviously on there, you've got a lot of different content that people post. Some of it, for me on my Instagram, it's a lot of educational content, and I learn a lot of things from it, which I think is one of the reasons why it's so good. And obviously, you've got content that's funny and also content into people's lives. And I feel like for everyone, maybe it's different. For some people, I know, like some of my friends, their phone is like an escape from the real world, and they think, well, TikTok, I can look into someone else's life, and I can get out of my life for a while. And I have heard that's how some of my friends view it, which I've never seen it that way before. I would go around and I'd say, oh, you're on your phone all the time, look like a parent, and say, get off your phone, or stop being antisocial. And then when one of my friends said that to me, I was like, that's really interesting. Imagine really not wanting to be in your life so much that you spend all your time looking at someone else's life.
Yeah, I find myself picking my phone up too much, and I found myself, I was at a conference and they had fidget toys on the table. And I picked up a fidget toy and I was playing with this fidget toy. And then at the end of the day, I realized that I hadn't picked my phone up because it was something I needed to play with, something to stimulate me. But my brain was needing to do something. It's a bit like stimming, I guess, a bit something like that. But I was playing these fidget toys, and it allowed me to put my phone down. So I recognised that I am kind of addicted to touching the phone, being near it, playing with it, absorbing something from it, and I need to distract my brain in a different way. So I can imagine how you're sitting there at night, you're doom scrolling, you're flicking through, you're flicking through, you're flicking through. 6 seconds, nah, nah. Oh yeah, right, this one, yeah, nah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just keeps feeding the beast, doesn't it? It knows what you like, knows what you don't like.
And then it just becomes a habit. And I know sometimes I'll be out somewhere and I'll like put my hand on my pocket just through habit that my phone's there, and I'm thinking, where's my phone? You know, it's usually in that pocket. And I was like, whoa, I can tell I'm addicted to my phone a little bit.
Yeah. I started watching a few reels. I still watch reels on Facebook, and I think I clicked on was it a Pac-Man bullfrog? And it's basically frogs eating other frogs, or frogs eating insects, or insect versus insect. And suddenly my feed is full of this insect wars and frog wars. It's like, go away! I want to see something. And then I found myself getting lions eating things. It's like suddenly I've got all these wildlife adventures going on. It's like they're eating stuff. It's like, no, go away. I want to go back to something normal. It's like, it's crazy how the algorithm gets you, isn't it? It detects what you like, detects what you've watched. And then suddenly I'm seeing the stuff that I was only casually browsing. It's like, no, thank you. Enough now.
Yeah, and then you just watch one video for however long, and then suddenly all your videos are about that thing, and how your phone listens to you as well, which I think is
Yeah.
crazy. I was having a conversation with my mom about, me driving and taking my driving test. Next minute I look at my phone, I've got adverts for driving instructors, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
And they all claim they don't do that, but they do it. And there's too
Yeah.
much coincidence. And
Hmm.
sometimes we have biases that will make us think that it's random, or random things happen. But I've seen too many examples. My wife Marie, we were talking about something, and all of a sudden it pops up on her phone. It's like, how did that happen?
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, completely random. So yeah, there's something going on, or
definitely.
you're being targeted somehow. The other thing I thought about maybe is if I go onto it with my phone, something tracks my IP address, and when Marie connects on her phone through the Wi-Fi, it's using the same IP address, so maybe it's feeding it based on an IP address.
Yeah.
That's the only other theory I can think of, because it thinks you're the same person, and the tracking cookies maybe hook it up that way. I don't know. I've never got to the bottom of it, but you're right. Something is listening. Something is
Yeah.
definitely listening. So I'd say the older generation, yeah, the millennials. Our two children are millennials, and they grew up in a world where the time wasted was games. Not maybe on a phone, but console games. My son had a PlayStation Portable. In fact, every portable gaming device he has, and he plays them in different things. I'll play that on that. I'll play that. It's like, really? I can't handle one device. So do you find that things like TikTok and Reels and Insta and those sort of things have replaced the gaming thing, or do you think there's not only that and the gaming goes on?
I think I'm not sure. I don't have an Xbox or anything, but I know it's still, my half brother still has an Xbox and my cousins have Xboxes. I think it's still for younger children who maybe like on social media, yeah, I think it's still big. But then I feel like by the time you hit maybe high school or college, it's then a huge thing, to have Snapchat, to have Instagram. And that's people's main form of communication now, Snapchat. For me, because I don't have it, it's WhatsApp. And people actually find it really weird if I meet someone new and they say, oh, can I have your Snapchat? And I'm like, oh, I don't have it. And they think my mum's really strict and won't let me have it, and they can't get the head around the fact that I had it and then I deleted it just because I didn't want it. It's quite funny to see people's reactions when you say, no, I don't have Snapchat, you'll have to take my number instead.
Yeah, so I suppose I'm a Facebook generation. I use Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp. Yeah, I wouldn't venture onto Snapchat, or even, as I say, I use TikTok more as a outbound marketing rather than inbound, and
Mm.
consuming that way. So what are the issues do you perceive for your generation, I'm not saying the entire world of your generation, but your circle of friends, what are the big issues that you're worried about in society, in for the planet, for the workplace? What do people your generation care about the most?
I think we're very heavy, our generation, on one, mental health, and two, diversity and inclusion. I think they're both two very and the planet and sustainability. I think those three, I would say, are kind of the main three in our generation. We've had a lot more at high school, you have a lot more education on it. For me, I I feel like there's a line somewhere, I don't know where it is, but with mental health, I think our generation has, not everyone, has come a bit, and that might be due to social media, that anything someone says can be perceived as offended, or someone can be offended by something, and then you're in this situation where anything that you say, whether it's to your friends or you post it on Facebook, Instagram, wherever, is gonna get judged, and is gonna get, someone's gonna interpret it as attacking someone, or something like that. And for me, I've done a few courses on mindfulness and self-development, which taught me kind of, it's people project out what's going on for them. So it's not necessarily that someone's offending you or attacking you in any way, but maybe something's going on for them, and that's how they're just expressing how they feel. And I think diversity inclusion is the same at my high school, obviously a big thing. And I had a few friends that transitioned from, one of my best friends is gay, and another one of our friends in that friendship group changed from female to male. And I for me, I support anyone, because I think your life is your life, and you live it the way you feel most comfortable to live it, not dependent on what other people think about you or anything like that, but how you feel most comfortable. And I understand that maybe at my age, teenagers, a lot of kind of figuring out who you are, a lot of discovery, and maybe that is like some experimentation and not knowing who you are and trying different things to understand who you are as a person. But I also have seen on TikTok, when I had it, is it kind of almost becoming a trend, which I really don't like to say, because I really hope that it's not a trend of, and I don't know whether it's people feel like they have to do it for attention, to fit in. I'm not sure, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I think it can take away from those people who genuinely feel, if they're transitioning, or if they're gay, or if they genuinely feel that something about them is not right. And yeah, from my generation, that's how it seems for me, which might be different to you, because I'm sure it's not a trend. But yeah, that's, I think, those issues. It's just how we teach children, and in education, in schools, a different way of looking at it, if that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in an era where self-awareness, self-reflection, understanding who you are, what your ambitions are, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, it just wasn't really part of life. You were a child. You were brainy. You were artistic. You were characterized more by what you did and what career you took. But you never self-analyzed. You just ended up falling into what you were good at, not what made you happy, not what made you give you passion. That's how I ended up doing electronics, because my mum thought I was good at electronics, but really my passion was photography, and I never explored it. So yeah, we never really talked about feelings or needs in that way. we were just waiting for the school bell. We go and play in the park and disappear for a couple of hours, get on our bikes, cycle home. So yeah, I think today there's more awareness of who we are as individuals, aren't we? Not just around our gender or sexuality, but also culturally what matters to us, doesn't it? And I think it's wonderful. I think it's amazing that we're taking time to figure ourselves out rather than waiting till we're in our 40s and going, I've been doing this life for 40 years now, and I should have stopped years ago and had another go at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you feel far more empowered to say, nah, that's not working for me. I want to do something different now.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's how I feel, and I think for me, I've been really lucky because my mum, especially, and my family are all very supportive of do what you love, do what you're passionate about, whether you're good at it or not, do what you love, because then the drive to work hard, the drive to push through and carry on will come from passion and love for what you're doing. So I've been really lucky in that sense that I've had that instilled in me from a very young age. So naturally then when my friends are saying, my mum, she wants me to do this and she wants me to go to uni and she wants me to get this job, I always chat to them and I say, yeah, but what do you want to do? Like, this is your life, it's not your mum's, it's not your dad's, it's not your carers, it's not anyone else's, it's yours, and you need to spend the time that you have, which as humans is quite short, the time that you have doing something that you really, really enjoy to make the most out of your life.
We hear in the media, old people, from your perspective, old people, saying that we become far too woke as a society, where we're pandering to the minorities, where we're giving these minority voices too much, and we should be going back to old traditional values and just get on with stuff. What's the feeling that you get from listening to that kind of stuff coming back at you, if you like?
I think because each of our generations has grown up very differently, and we've all got different morals, different things that we're passionate about based on, the experiences that we've lived. For me, I can't say anything how I feel on like a world war because I've never experienced one. So I don't know what it is like to go to war or to live in that situation. So therefore, I can't say if someone's done something in a right or wrong way because I wouldn't know. I just think I can understand from older generations looking at us. I hear a lot that we're, the snowflake generation, and we're very, maybe because we really want to help the planet and diversity and inclusion, and that's not been traditional because older generations haven't had the education or awareness of that. I don't think either one is right or wrong. I just think they can see we don't want to be dividing us by what we believe and our opinions, and I don't think it's right to say you're right and I'm wrong, I'm right and you're wrong, because then we're never going to live together as one. There's always going to be clashes and people not liking things. So I think it's important to understand that us as a younger generation, just respect for our old generations, and understanding that, not to judge them by what they say or what they're calling us, because their experience is different, and to understand they have the right to that opinion. Whether we like it or not, they're going to say what they're going to say, and that's absolutely fine. And the same for the older generation, even though we are younger and we may be doing things a little bit differently, but just the mutual respect for all of us so that we can live, more united as a country, as a world, and less conflict and less, wars and yeah, I think it's important.
So you mentioned the planet. Do you think the planet will last long enough for you to grow up and enjoy it?
It's an interesting question. For me, I I've not compared to my generation, I would say the planet isn't obviously I care about the planet. However, I don't haven't had that much education. You obviously hear things on the news and everywhere. It's hard to know what's true, what's not true, what to believe. I think I do A level economics, and we have been talking about obviously sustainability and electric cars and all those things. And I think it's important that we understand not to take the world for granted now, because the things that we have in this world and the amazing nature and the land that we have, which is getting built over with houses, which is obviously needed for people that don't have homes. But I do sometimes look at the nature and think, like, look how amazing this is, and we're not doing much to help it right now. And it's so beautiful, and we should be super super grateful for the world that we live in and for the things that we have, which people before us haven't had.
No, it was when I was growing up and all my life until probably the last 4 or 5 years. It was never on the agenda, never big enough. Recycling and things like that have started to become more obvious. We have different colour bins we put outside the house where we encourage to put one in the other, pre-sift and pre-sort, and rinse our milk bottles out or milk cartons out before we put them in recycling. All this. So to me, that's kind of an alien thing. It's something I've had to relearn. But you're growing up kind of world, but that's kind of the normal, isn't it? That's our daughter. She has all the recycling in different color bins in her kitchen. She, if you put something in the wrong bin, she's no, do that bit. So she's hyper aware. I'm kind of like, oh well. If I'm a bit confused, I'll just put it into general and don't worry about it. And yeah,
I
because
I'm gonna oh, go on.
I was to say I don't understand all the different labels. I haven't put enough time and effort into understanding what is, what isn't. I know that often the plastic lid or the plastic bit you peel off of a ready meal or something, the plastic lid generally isn't recyclable, but the base is. That's my rule. If I rip it off, it's generally not recyclable. If it's the base, then it generally is. That's kind of how I do it. As a
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. When I'm at college, you've got two different bins, and I'm thinking, what is general waste and what's recyclable? And I'm like, I don't know which bit of this is recyclable.
yeah, and I was hoping you would be an expert on it.
Which unfortunately I'm not.
Yeah. Well, that just highlights though the challenge we have if we're going to build this kind of mentality onto our psyche, isn't it? Is how do we get people to take responsibility and true responsibility for the planet, for environment, for recyclable? Because the government was backtracking on electric vehicles. So, oh no, we can't do 2030. It's too tricky. We'll push it back to 2040 or something. And you think, hang on a minute. If it's important for 2030, why are we pushing it back? Is it because it's
Yeah.
difficult?
And I feel like it's difficult then. It's kind of like mixed messages then. And I know my stepdad, he's very into his cars, very into his cars. And he's also a firefighter. And he has a love-hate relationship with electric cars, because when an electric car sets on fire, it's impossible to put it out. Like, you can't, it just burns and burns and burns and burns. And he went to a fire and it was an electric car, and you just can't put one out.
The lithium creates a chain reaction, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
it becomes like a self-sustaining. I mean, I remember physics at school, and they used to drop sodium and that into water, and you see it race around and
Yeah.
around. And lithium comes up as it. You've got platinum and other thing and other ions, and lithium's higher up the scale. So you drop that in water, and poof,
Bang.
it, it,
Yeah.
it creates a big explosion. So yeah, it is. So yeah, I can understand that they are dangerous, and
Yeah.
at least for the petrol fire, you can kind of put a petrol fire out.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah, lithium.
it's again that use of, as much as electric cars are better for the environment, and I know it'll be a small amount that's set on fire, but obviously then that use of the public services on a lot of resources go into putting out a fire of an electric car, which, can't be put out.
Yeah, I guess we've got to adapt to play catch up with new technology and how we deal with it. It's a bit like how we had to come to terms with overuse of mobile phones, overuse of
Mm,
internet, overuse of this. We've had the processes and policies catch up later, don't they? And
yeah.
so you said earlier about trying to filter out what's true and not true, which I think
Mm.
is really interesting when you picked up on that. How do you judge what is true, what is not true, what is an opinion, what is a perspective, and what is a fact? What
Yeah.
tools do you use to do that?
It's difficult, and for me, doing economics, obviously a lot about. I think I'm the only student in that class that doesn't watch the news, because for me, I never know what to believe, what's not, what's slanted, what isn't. And I think it's really, really difficult. And you can understand why a lot of us have so many different beliefs because it's dependent on like so many different things, how you've been brought up, what your parents believe, what their opinions are, also who you spend your time with and what you watch on TV, on your phone, all these things. Like I know a lot of my friends now, they get the news from TikTok, and you think how much of that news is real news and how much is, just fake, all fake news. And I think it's really difficult to know the difference. And for me, I guess I'm always cautious. If I hear something that someone said, I won't believe it until I've, looked at it myself or understood where it's come from. I won't make an opinion there and then. I'm pretty much like the same of that with people. If someone said, "Oh, she's really horrible," or "He's really whatever," I'm always like, I'll never say, "Oh yeah, I agree with you," because for me, we're all individual, and when I meet you, I'll get to understand who you are. I won't just take someone else's word for it. So I kind of use that in whatever I hear, just to be a bit cautious and understand. Hey, it might not be true. It might be true.
Yeah, I think for me that's fundamental. It's recognizing, I think exactly as you said, about why someone thinks something.
Mm,
Is that their parents, their environment, their history, their politics, whatever it may be. And it's trying to find the why, isn't it? Tell me why you believe something, and then I can try and figure out if I agree with you or what I disagree
yeah,
with. Because we often get clash our heads around the belief,
yeah.
not the why.
The why.
If I can understand why you think something, I don't have to agree with you, but
Mm,
I understand why, and then
yeah,
we can be friends because your why is different to my why. That's fine.
yeah. So, like for me, I also think when you see someone that's really passionate about something or has a really strong belief, I always think, like you said, they've got a reason. There must be some reason why they're so passionate about that. Like for me, I had anorexia for 2 years and I'm very passionate about, you know, eating disorders and very around food. And I have a lot of younger cousins, and I always, whenever, my auntie or whoever will say, you know, chocolate's bad for you, or don't eat too much of that, don't, you have to go for a run before you can eat that. Like for me, I won't say anything, but inside, because that's something personally that I've experienced, I then feel very strongly and passionately towards situations like that. So for someone else, when I see that they're really passionate about something, I think, okay, there's something that maybe they've experienced, been through sin, that's made them really strongly believe that. And understanding, like you said, why that is. It's all right if you don't agree with it or whether you do, but just to know, because then you don't have to say, actually, you're wrong, because it's kind of, I guess, invalidating how they feel or their experience that they've had.
You mind if I ask you about your anorexia?
Yeah, sure. So I think it was around, I was in year 10. I just started the summer before year 10, which was maybe 2021, I think. And I played very high level netball, so very competitive sport. I played for the county. I played for one of the best teams in the country. And I'm a very competitive person, and at the time, quite a perfectionist as well. And I joined this new team and I really wanted to do really, really well. And all the girls that were in the team all lived in the same place, all knew each other. And I didn't. So I was like, I want to fit in. None of them were talking to me. And they'd all been there for so long that I really needed to be really good for my coaches and say, look, I am a really good player. And that kind of perfectionist competitive in me took me the other way. So I would get up at like 2:30 and come downstairs really quietly, so like my mum or stepdad didn't know. And I'd train from like 3 till 6. I'd go to school and then I'd come back and I'd train from 5 till 7 and then have my tea in 8 till 9 every single day. So I was so just depleted and I was literally going crazy just wanting to do so well. And then I thought I can't do this anymore. Like I'm so exhausted. So I gave up netball. And for a week I felt kind of free. Oh my gosh, I don't have to, wake up at 3 a.m. anymore. But then after that, it kind of all went downhill. And I'd kind of never seen, my body, what it looks like before, as anything other than performance based. Because for me, I just wanted to perform well. And with the netball, we have a lot of muscle, it's very explosive. So then I kept looking in the mirror and I just kept seeing like this muscle is fat. And I was like, I need to get rid of it. Like, I don't need it anymore. Like, I'm not playing netball. So then it slowly started and feeding into everything you hear from social media, don't eat carbs, don't do this. Well, stopped eating potatoes and I started having just coffee for my breakfast and going to the gym and running on the treadmill for like 2 hours. And then it got really, really, really bad. And obviously, like, my mum was really worried about me and she took me to the doctor. And they said, come back they weighed me and said, come back in a week and then, we'll see. I don't think they took it that seriously. And I came back the week after and I'd lost a stone in a week because I was scared. I was physically scared to eat. And my mum, she was like, come on, Liv, you have to. Like, she was trying so hard. And I was just like, no, I was scared of water because anything that made me feel full, I was scared of. I don't want to. And it got really bad. And I went to see an eating disorders from the NHS. And I'll always remember this, what he first said to me, because it really, from the moment on, I didn't like him and I never listened to anything that he said. He said, I looked at you and I wasn't worried. And then I looked at your stats and I was worried. And I thought, for me, in my head, always I'd felt not sick enough to get help, not ill enough. And I've just come in and you've said, you looked at me and you're not worried. So that's just made me think, oh, so I'm not good enough to get help. I'm not sick enough for you to help me because I look fine. And it just snowballed. It got worse. And I was a week from being admitted to hospital and I got COVID, and COVID actually kind of saved me in a way because I couldn't go to the appointment and I had to stay at home and start eating. And I think people tend to think that when you've had, I think it's a very touchy subject. People don't really like talking about it. I was embarrassed about it for a really long time. People think you're some sort of freak, you're crazy, like why? And they think food is the problem. Or she just must hate food. And that's like, I love food. Like if you picked me in a lineup, you'd think, whoa, never, because she loves food. And that's never really the problem. It's something around that, like the control, to need to control something in your life, or trauma, or something. And I'm competitive, and it kind of stemmed from that. And then people think it's a linear journey to recovery. It's definitely not. It's up and down. It's up and down. And finally now I'm getting to kind of a place where I think, do you know what? Like the body that I have, it's been with me through a lot, and it's kept me alive, even though, I didn't want it to be. And I've got it forever, and I need to, nurture it and cherish it, because I'm never going to get another one. So I think that's why I'm super passionate about it.
Do you look back at that time and do you understand, if you analyze yourself or what you went through, do, do you understand enough so that you can trust yourself not to go back?
Yeah, I think that is the hardest part. I think for a lot of people, when they've been through something and come out of it, the last thing they want to do is go back into it and experience all the things that they've already experienced once mentally. For me, that was really important because I needed to see why, I learned a lot about myself through that. I also learned what my pitfalls are, what can tip me back a little bit, what can make me think, naturally, if I'm stressed or something, my tendency now is to eat less just from what I've been through. And I can catch myself in that now. And I understand that about myself. And I think that's the most important thing, like being self aware of who you are to, be a better person and be better for yourself and to live your life as well as you can do. And I think it's important to analyze not too much that you trigger yourself again, but to look and think why and how can I move on from it, I think is important.
It must have not only been stressful for you, but also stressful for your family to
Yeah.
feel that sense of powerlessness, to see you wasting away, whatever, reacting the way you did,
Mm,
and that feeling of hopelessness. They can't fix you. They can't make you better. They can't even snap you out of it. Even
yeah.
it's
It's
and that
it's scary. For my mum
yeah
especially. Obviously when you've got children, you want to protect them, you love them. And when you see your child kind of wasting away and not caring or doing anything about it is scary. And she really tried to do everything she possibly could, and my whole family. And when you've got an eating disorder, I can't talk for any other ones because I've had anorexia, but it's like two people in your head, and you've got this like one person talking to you like constantly saying, you can't eat that, go for a run, you're not good enough. And that's kind of the person that then your family's interacting with. It's not actually you. It's kind of like someone else, and you're completely different from who you usually are. Um, and it was so difficult. And I love my family so much, and I wouldn't want to hurt them, and I don't want to make them upset. And my mum was obviously so upset at that time, which I kind of felt even worse about. I was like, I feel so bad that I'm, you know, making this so difficult for you. But I think I'm so lucky that I had that support, because if I didn't, I think it would have been completely different. And my family really, really fought for me not to go into hospital because they wanted me to stay at home. And I think I'm just so lucky to have them. And yeah, I'm just
I,
lucky.
yeah I know. Yeah, I've met your mum. She's an amazing person. So we were talking just before we came on air about I'm off to the cinema after this, go see Inside Out
Mm,
too.
yeah.
And as you were speaking around how you had these two characters in your head, the one's communicating with the outside, the one's sort of like in the inside.
Mm,
I used to think about my life in those sort of terms as well, where I had these, and then when I saw the film Inside Out, the first one, I suddenly went, "That's exactly it. That little red angry person
mm,
is what's running my mind." And then what you have to do is you have to put the little red angry person into the chair, settle them down, and then joy comes out, and then the world's a better place. And I really felt that difference where I understood all the little characters in my head, who was driving me, who was controlling me, and which one I actually wanted to do the drive. And the character in the Inside Out is Joy, and I realised that was the character that always should have been in control of me,
mm.
but I let the angry one, or let the other one, or let the other ones take over. And the sudden realization about those characters and how I was communicating and how I was acting was a real wake up call for me. And it sounds like the same. You had this
Yeah.
different people in your head here, one of them hacked the control unit, and you're going, no, 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 the other one should be driving, not you.
Yeah, and kind of when kind of like the angry one is so, driving you so much, it kind of like the joy gets smaller and smaller and smaller and quieter and quieter. And I think for me, people say you can never fully recover from an eating disorder, it's impossible, you can't do it. And whether that's right or wrong, I choose not to believe it because I think, do you know what? I can fully recover because I'm not going to let this, take over my life completely because it has done once and it's not going to again. And I make that decision for myself. And I think each of our experiences, and people go through a lot of things in life, and each of our experiences teach us something and teach us something about ourselves to then help us for something later on. And I always think, everything happens for a reason. What is meant to be will be. And I always say, Joe, I think that happened for a reason because now I can openly talk about it and try and help people as much as I can, help my younger cousins, friends, because I'm able to empathize with that now and really understand why, which maybe other people might not. But I think you should always try and run with joy in the forefront of your head. I think it's super important because life's too short to always be angry, always be upset. Life is about living and enjoying it. So I agree.
Yeah, fantastic. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, this true, not true, this true, false, this information, and I guess you have been in a situation where you were telling yourself an untruth
Mm,
and reinforcing it without stepping back and going, why do I think that? And
yeah,
it sounds like the recovery was all around self-analysis, understanding the lie you were telling yourself,
yeah.
and setting yourself up for a way that isn't bringing you joy. So yeah, do you still play netball now? Do you go back and
Yeah, I was the college captain, first year captain of my team. First time I ever went back to netball in September last year, and I was really scared. I was really scared of myself. Obviously, then I had knee surgery, so I kind of again had another little break. But I think I put so much pressure on myself the first time I played netball. I learned from that, and I thought, "Do you know what? I started off playing netball because I loved it, and that love went away, and I had that time off, and I come back, and I love it even more than ever now because I think I don't need to put pressure on myself. I don't need to be the best one at college. I don't need to win every match. I don't need to, because I just love to play it, and that's what it should be about. If you're falling out of love with something, then take a break or think, well, why am I falling out of love with something? Because the reason I started was because I loved it. And, sometimes you just want to get back to, I just want to love it again. So sometimes taking a little break can help that.
what position do you play?
I started off as a shooter and then got told I was too short to be a shooter. So now I'm in defence, like my auntie. So she's very happy. She converted me into a defender.
Our daughter played netball. She used to represent her school. I don't think she ever got to county, but I think she played with the guides for a fair bit, and she used to do some. She used to captain a couple of teams, and I think she was goal defence as well. So she was, even though she's relatively tall,
Mm,
I think she was always more comfortable in defence. So yeah, no,
yeah.
we're often driving around the town. And she said, "Oh, I used to play netball there. We played that school. We played that school." And it's sort of like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. She remembers them all. But yeah, it was a big part of her life, and she still talks very very warmly about her netball memories. And a lot of her friends that met and really keeps in touch with now. Her bridesmaids at the wedding were all netball teammates and things. So yeah, she's
Yeah,
really passionate about it.
that's lovely.
So you're 17 years old.
Yeah.
You're doing economics A level, is that right?
Yeah.
Economics A level. Where are you heading? Yeah, you're fantastically articulate. You've got a lot of I don't know wisdom in your shoulders. Where does the world? Where do you fit in the world? What's going to bring you joy in the future?
At this point right now, I'm not sure. The podcast brings me joy. I love talking to people. I love trying to help people. So I really want to, give that my time and energy and see where it can go, because I think it's because I just love to do it. I think after my A levels, gonna take a gap year maybe. I'm going to look at some universities this weekend and a few weekends after, to see what it's like. But I'm not sure completely anything specific. I'm not like, yeah, do you know what? I want to be a doctor or I want to be a vet or anything like that. I just think, what's going to happen is going to happen and I'll end up in the right place. Because for me as a person, the important things is that you know who you are and what your values are and what your morals are, not necessarily, what you want to be. Because I think then your morals can drive you in whatever you decide to do. For me, I know that I'm a hard worker and I know that I'm determined. So I know that whatever I end up doing, I'll do it to the best of my ability. And I'm just excited for the unknown. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, but I think that's quite an exciting thing.
I love that. I love that. I spent a lot of my life having it mapped out, not not forced on me, but expectations were set, and I was on this path and on this road, and it was kind of like the destination was all. And I had the opportunity or the luxury or the privilege to be able to step off and go, hang on a minute, I don't want to go there. I want to do something different. I'm not comfortable in who I am. Let's
Mm.
figure this out. So for you to have that self awareness at your age now to say, doesn't matter. Let me figure it out. I know I'm clever. I know I can do stuff. I know I work hard. I know I'm determined. And whatever I want to do, I'll know I'll be good at it. That's a really fantastic outlook on life, and you don't need to decide like that. I'm quite envious of you in your youth, having all that opportunity ahead of you to just, as I joke with my daughter, I spend my life winging it at the moment. I don't have to have a plan beyond what I'm doing next. As long as I
Yeah.
know what I'm doing next, I don't care what's happening next week or next month or next year. People say, "Do you want to book a holiday?" I go, "Holiday? When do you think about it? In 6 months' time." So, can we wait till the day before, please? I might know what I want to do then. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
like to have it. I don't like to have my life mapped out. It's too constraining, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, but I
But
guess for some people, that's how they like it. They like to
yeah,
know the next steps, and I think both ways are equally good, just depending on who you are. And for me, how I've been brought up with my mum, which I won't stop talking about because she's always been there for me, since I was little, and she's taught me a lot of the wisdom I have is definitely from her, and I'm just lucky that I've got her, and she's always there to give me good advice. Maybe not necessarily what I want to hear, but what I need to hear. And yeah, and who knows what's gonna happen, and it'll be exciting either way.
it will be. Yeah, I can't. I'd love to keep in touch and see where you go. But yeah, it's fascinating, and you've got some great skills. The wisdom, the way you see the world, your ability to connect with people, the ability to talk, the ability to be interested in people. I think that's half the battle.
Yeah.
Actually interested in other people, their perspectives, and finding out more. I think we lack that sometimes in humanity. We're too busy caught in our own world, not thinking about the others. I think all those skills you have are absolutely fantastic, and whatever you do, you'll succeed at. And
Oh, thank you.
yeah, so yeah, so the what's next for the School Run podcast? You've been doing it a year and a half. You're going to carry on doing that
Yeah.
through college, through university.
Yeah, I'm gonna carry on with School Run podcast. We've just got our domain name for our website, which is super exciting. We were supposed to have an event this year, but because of my surgeries, we're gonna push it to next year. And I'm gonna continue to do it through my A levels. Can't give it the time that I want to because obviously revising. But after that, for me, it's always like whatever I do, who knows what would happen if you didn't give it everything that you've got. So whatever happens with it, for me, as long as I know I gave it everything that I possibly could, and if it turns out to be amazing, brilliant, and if it turns out to just stay the size that it is, well, that's also amazing, and I can, see what else I can venture onto.
Are you going to upgrade it to? university girl or something like this, or
That's a good point. Everyone's like, what are you going to do when you're not on a school run anymore? I'm like, oh, we don't know.
campus conversations or something. It's
Yeah.
trying to find a new title. I guess a lot of your audience is going to age with you, is it? Or
Yeah.
so your genre that you're talking about now is aging with you, and maybe the
Yeah.
mums who listen to you now and the children in the car and the school run, they're like you. They're 2 years older, and their life is growing as well.
Yeah. And we called it the school run because we thought, everyone can relate, whether you've had a school run yourself, school run with your children, grandchildren. And we thought everyone can relate to that. So I think it's a nice name to, call. And I think the school runs, whether you go in a car, whether you walk, whether you're on the bus, it's always, I think, a nice part of the day. So we thought, why not? Let's call it the school run.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic. It does what it says on the tin. I think it's good. Are you worried about being old? You go to university, you'll be an oldie, won't you? People will be looking up at you. It's like being in the last year at school. The youngsters who just come in at year 5 or 6, whatever they join school, looking up at you, going, "Oh yeah, you're the seniors now."
With
So
the seniors,
you're
yeah, I
becoming
know.
old, aren't you? You're becoming
Yeah,
old.
I am. I mean, for me, it's crazy. Turn 17 and I'm starting to learn how to drive, and I'm like, whoa, this happened fast. Feel like I'm growing up now.
Wow, less than a year, you'll be an adult. Yeah,
Yeah, no.
vote, do stuff, go for a bit, go for a drink, go have a glass of wine in the pub or something.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you're like me, you're nearly 60. How did that happen? I'm sure up here I'm still 20. How did I become 60? It's ridiculous. It's crazy. It's like not allowed. So yeah, try and keep yourself young. It's
Yeah.
yeah. You gotta. Most people my age or older, I talk to them, and they're still the same schoolgirls, still the same schoolboy in their heads.
Yeah.
How you think doesn't really change fundamentally who you are. Okay, you get a lot of life experiences, you get a lot of different thinking going on. But I talked to my mum, and she's 70? No, she's 85 now, and deep down, she's still a young woman. She's still a young girl.
Yeah.
She still thinks and excited by the same stuff. So yeah, it's just that your legs fail, your hearing fails, your eyesight's failing, and you
Yeah.
can't. Hips don't work. You try to stand up and everything goes click. But yeah, that's what happens. But fundamentally, inside, behind the eyes, you're still the same person. Important to remember that joy element, isn't it? And just
Yeah.
keep going back to it and say, let's think who I am really. I'm still that young kid. Still want to play footy. Still want to play netball. Still want to run around the park. Still want to get my knees dirty. So, Liv, it's been absolutely fantastic. We've had an hour and a bit together and chatting away, and plus the School Run podcast we did the other week. How do people get hold of you? How do people check out the School Run podcast? How do people email you? Or are you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so we've got a School Run podcast is on all podcast platforms, Apple and Spotify. It's just the School Run with Liv and Jane. We're on Instagram, the School Run _official. Our website, which is not there yet, but it will be, and it'll be schoolrun.co.com. Schoolrun.com. And yeah, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, Olivia Maudsley. My mom as well, Jane James. And our School Run is also on LinkedIn as well, the School Run podcast. So get in touch with us or have a little listen to one of our episodes.
Brilliant. I'll put all the details in the show notes, so people listen to this, they can click on it and make contact. Yeah, it's and obviously subscribe to the School Run podcast as well, and you can listen to the episode with me, which would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As we bring this conversation to a close, I want to express my deepest gratitude to you, our listener, for lending your ear and heart to the cause of inclusion. If today's discussion struck a chord, consider subscribing to Inclusion Bites and become part of our ever-growing community, driving real change. Share this journey with friends, family and colleagues. Let's amplify the voices that matter. Got thoughts, stories, or a vision to share? I'm all ears. Reach out to joe.lockwood@seechangehappen.co.uk and let's make your voice heard. Until next time, this is Joanne Lockwood, signing off with a promise to return with more enriching narratives that challenge inspire, and unite us all. Here's to fostering a more inclusive world, one episode at a time. Catch you on the next bite.